All right, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 104 of my Gateway Experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. The purpose of these videos is to document our journey through the Monroe Institute's Gateway Experience. I like to call the Gateway Experience a scientific, repeatable process of discovery, self-exploration, and ultimately self-mastery. It consists of 36 tapes in total, divided into 6 waves. We're currently on the second wave, and we are on the, no, we're not on the second wave anymore, actually. We're on the third wave. Man, these videos, I've been doing them for a little bit now. So, yeah, we're on the third wave, and we're on the first wave of that, or first tape of that wave called the Liftoff. It's called Liftoff dot Flack. I mean, come on. How exciting is that? Third wave, the third wave is called Freedom. Okay, so we went from the first one called Discovery, the second one called Threshold, and now the third one called Freedom. So it's really about discovering ourselves, being on the threshold of change of ourselves, and then ultimately going into the third one, which is freedom. And it's freedom to do whatever it is that we want. And this is the first time doing this tape. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, go ahead and check those out. That way you can see the whole journey so far. So let's get straight into it. Today it is December 6th, 2022. It is a Tuesday and it is 9:34 a.m. Woke up this morning at exactly 8 a.m. basically. And I woke up, I was like, hey, babe, what time is it, to my wife? And she was like, it's 8. I was like, really, 8? Like, exactly 8? She was like, yeah. Not really. That's not how actually it went down. I said that in my head, and then I went to check my phone, and it said 8 a.m. Because she said 8. I was like, is it really 8 a.m. o'clock? And it was. Anyway, yeah, so what can I say about this liftoff tape? I mean, I've talked about the whole journey so far. That was last video. It was basically the recap of everything about the hemisync process and about everything else, about frequencies, following response, and about our brains and tuning our brains and becoming flexible and all this amazing things. So now we're in the liftoff tape. In the liftoff tape, I'll just kind of explain the process that I went through because it is only my first time doing it. But basically, I laid down on this bed right here, and as I was laying down, Bob comes in my ears and he starts talking about go through your pre-preparation process. I'm like, okay, I've done this so many times before. I got it on lock. I go through my pre-preparation process. And those of you that don't know, the pre-preparation process is basically we go through our energy conversion box, and then we go through our resonant tuning, which is a process of breathing and resonating with our voice, okay? And then we go to our resonant energy balloon, also known as the rebow. And from that, we go to focus 10. But this time, the focus was not on focus 10. The focus was on the resonant energy balloon. And it was about feeling that energy and seeing it lift off. And I was scared. I mean, that was like the first thing. I was like, what if it actually happens? What if I just, right now, I just get out of my body and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Like that was literally what was going on in my head. I was like, man, what if it actually works after all these times, and I actually leave my body? What's going to happen? Where am I going to, basically, like, is it going to be all black? Am I going to be able to see the room? What's going on? That was basically what was going on in my head, and I was scared. So I was sitting there, and he was like, okay, now don't go any higher. Don't go any higher. Just stay right there where you are now, and don't try to, just be comfortable and observe what you're feeling. So I started to calm down. I was like, okay, All right. Well, I guess if I was to go somewhere and then I started thinking and letting my mind kind of chew on all these relationships, that's what my mind likes to chew on is relationships and like what people said, what they said, how they said it, and what that means and all this other dramatic BS that my mind likes to chew on. And I think you're probably the same way. I think most people are probably the same way. But yeah, and then myself as well. And so I finally came back to myself and I was like, okay, let me just focus on what he's telling me to do, and let me just be here now and go through this practice. And so then I started going higher, and it's really true. I started to start resonating when I started to have more clarity about the people that I was thinking about. I started to have more clarity about myself and how about we're all one and all this other stuff, right? And yeah, it's just the going through the process of lifting myself like out of my body to an extent because now I know like okay, it's all up here and it was like okay, now I just became comfortable and then it started just going up and just kept going up and up and up and then basically that's the whole process that we went through for the lift off tape. It's basically like, okay, well, you're on your thing and then you're like seeing yourself lift up and like it's actually, I can feel the energy going higher, like my resonant energy balloon actually rising. And then it's like, okay, now get comfortable there. Don't go any higher because if you keep going higher, you might get uncomfortable. We don't want to get uncomfortable because that'll mess up the entire practice. And then, basically just kept going and going and going basically getting comfortable and then going higher and then getting comfortable again and then coming back down and then going back up and getting comfortable and then coming back down, and so basically um, that was the whole practice. And then eventually we ended up in focus 10, just realizing, okay, we just went through. It's basically like dipping your toe in the pool and then, feeling like, okay, now I get comfortable and taking it back out and then putting your foot in the pool and then getting comfortable and then taking back out and then putting your whole leg in the pool and then that's basically like what the whole process was. So I think it's pretty amazing. I think it's something that it needs to be discovered and played with a lot, so I'm going to keep doing that and I'm going to keep making these videos and sharing with you guys my experience and what I'm going through and everything else. So if you want to communicate with me, let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Peace.